What's up, YouTube? Welcome to post 4 of my journey. So I just wanted to share what God's been speaking to me the last few days. So Jehovah Mekoddishkem, I believe that is how you say it. So he is the God who sanctifies, and I am finding that the more I say yes, really when I have a heart posture to say yes, when no matter what the question is, that I already have a heart position of not my will, but your will be done. Things go so much easier. There is so much more peace that comes from just living fully surrendered, right? It's not situational. It doesn't depend on what's going on. And he kind of brought to my mind, so I love The Chosen, the TV series. And in the episode of the man at the well, and of course in the Bible, right, Jesus walks up, but it just hit me so powerfully in that episode. And Jesus walks up and he's like, do you want to get well? And it's like, that's such an obvious question, right? It's like, man, that dude is paralyzed. Of course he wants to get well. And the other day, it hit me from my own personal life. It's like, for so much of my life, I was so miserable, so depressed. I mean, at different times, addicted to drugs, addicted to pornography, or addicted to whatever. I mean, I was just a very addictive personality. And I hated life a lot of the time, right? Of course, the word even says, sin is pleasing for a season. So there was a time to where my flesh enjoyed it, but I'm here to say that for most of the time that I was stuck and trapped in my sin, I hated it. I mean, I hated what it was doing to me. I hated myself for not hating it enough to just be able to quit and just be able to do better. And it's like, did I really want to get better? Did I have an unequivocal yes, right? Would I surrender and lay down myself, my desires, right? Did I only hate the outcome of my actions, or did I actually hate the sin itself? And as I come to accept the process, right? So as I'm learning, I am messed up on such a deeper level than what I've ever known, right? So the closer I get to God, the more I see how messed up I am. And for most of my life, that was so discouraging. It's like, oh, I've been walking so faithful with God and doing the right things for this many months or this much time, and it's like, and I'm still like this. It's like, man, what's wrong with me, right? And that would condemn me. I mean, it would make me feel shameful. I felt like, oh, I'm a failure. I can't do it. I don't want to follow God enough. And it's like, it's actually a good sign that more things are coming to light, right? Like, it is, God is bringing more to the surface. I am going deeper, finding more things to surrender. It's a sanctification process, right? As you go through trials, right? It talks about developing character, developing perseverance. And without these things, these qualities, I would say it's got to be nearly impossible, if not impossible, for them to develop without the storm, right? And so sanctification, Jehovah Mekoddishkem, he is so faithful to finish the work that he started. And so I am just so grateful on how things begin to line up, on how I can see clear, how I can hear more clearly. the more I let go of everything. There's a gentleman that I listen to, a guy that I listen to. He's a Christian rapper. His name is Brian T. And I saw he had on a shirt or a hoodie recently, and it said "Loose Hands." And I want to learn to live a life of loose hands. Whatever God gives me, that I hold it loosely, whether it would be money, whether it would be a position, whether it would be relationships, whether it would be a place, a job, just anything. I want to hold it all with loose hands, that as God gives to me, that anything that he asked me to give back or ask me to give to someone else, right, that I would give it all back. And in a heart posture, that I would give it all back no matter what, right? That I'm fully surrendered, not my will, but your will be done. And really, I just wanted to come on, and I get so excited as the progression, right? As my focus shifts, and I've seen this happen several times, as my focus gets off of the storm and onto Jesus, just how clear things become, how much peace, and then just a transformation in how I live daily. And the awesome thing is, for those things to take effect, that's not some long process. Sanctification may be a lifelong journey. But if I just surrender what I know I'm holding on to right now, what God is asking me to give up, right? The peace comes immediately, right? The joy comes immediately, because I am no longer trying to be the God of my own life. I'm no longer worried about the outcome. I'm no longer living in fear about what's going to happen or what's not going to happen, right? Matthew chapter 6, down there in the 30s, right? He gives the example of the sparrow, right? And how they don't reap and they don't sow, but they never worry about what they're going to eat, right? And the lilies of the field. And he just talks about all these examples about how God takes care of the flowers and how he takes care of the birds and how the flowers are so beautiful, and look how they're dressed. And not even Solomon, looked like this. And it's like he says, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you, right? He'll take care of the rest. Like, I don't need to be worried. It's not my job to provide for myself, right? He is Jehovah Jireh. He is my provider. He will provide what I need. He will, guaranteed, right? He is El Shaddai. He is all sufficient. God needs nothing. He needs no help. He is my everything. And so, be encouraged. If you're in a hard time, if you can't see the end, if it feels like it's too much, if it feels like the burden is too heavy, just know you're not meant to carry it, right? Jesus said, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy burdened, and I will give you rest, right? Don't try to carry it on your own. We weren't meant to carry the load. We were meant to surrender it, right? And he will be strong in us and through us, right? Because it's all to point back to him. Do we trust him? And it's such a beautiful thing to surrender to the process, to surrender to the journey, to trust that he always knows best. He always has our best interests in mind. And something I would say as far as how we view a relationship, this came up in a small group that I was in yesterday morning, and I'm sure it's happened many times in my life, and that we have to make sure when we're walking with Jesus, right, and we see storms, we see trials, and it's like, why, God, and how come, and why is this happening, and look at what's happening in their life, and they're so blessed, but I'm struggling, and here I am following you. And it's like, we cannot follow Jesus for what we think he's going to do for us. We follow him. We surrender to him. We live for him. We have been redeemed for who he has called us to be, for who he is making us. He is transforming us into his image. And that is what is promised, right? Everything else is, if we have easier times and what we perceive as greater blessings, these external things, that's awesome. Enjoy them while we have them, right? But our focus is becoming more like Christ and shining to transform the world, to see people set free, to see people come to believe that they are loved, that they are known, that they have been redeemed, right? That God has called them his. So, yeah, you guys have an amazing evening. God bless you guys. Thank you guys for coming with me as I talk through my journey and hope to offer some encouragement to you. Have a great night.